Our nation budgeting na fraud. Obaseki. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki on Monday don call for more transparent and accountable budget system for the country. He tok dis one when he dey yarn the participants for the 4-day training wey the Edo State Ministry for Budget and Economic Planning in collabo with Open Government Partnership (OGP) arrange. Obaseki come yarn say one of the major crises wey we get for Nigeria today, apart from the weak bureaucracy, na our budgeting process, and im dey sorry to say e nearly fraudulent. The governor come dey repeat the need for citizens budgeting, say for Edo, preparing the citizens budget no dey negotiable. Na why him wants more of our DFAs to dey here.
The whole idea of democracy is citizens' participation. We as leaders don't get into office on our own. We go and sell our ideas, our projects to our people, and in turn, they give us power. And once we get into power, I think the first thing to do is to find out what resources and how to order and those resources and spend the resources for the people who voted for us. So the whole process of budgeting is at the core, at the base of our governance. Because in this classic book they called The Dance of Legislation, by one author, Eric Redman, he said that to budget is to govern. And one of the major crises we have in Nigeria today, apart from the very weak bureaucracy, is our budgeting process. Our budgeting process is, I'm sorry to use very harsh words, almost fraudulent. And why do I say so? As an entity, whether federal, state, or local government, you know that you can only earn so much. Assume you can only earn 100 naira a year from all your assumptions, right? You know, this is how much I got last year from receipts from the federal government, this is how much I got from taxes, this is how much I got from grants. You know it's going to be 100. But when you take, by the time you are preparing your budget and saying you are giving the agencies envelopes, they won't put this in the budget, put this in the budget. You end up putting out a budget of 200 naira. You're only going to receive 100, and you know that is where the fraud begins. You take that document to the House, the legislature, the various representatives there will have things they promise their constituencies, and they have things they want to put in for themselves. By the time they go back and forth, they say, this budget, just to accommodate our desires, add 50 to it. You know, at a budget of 250 naira. Meanwhile, you have only 100. And of that 100, maybe you have said that 50 naira will be for recurrent expenditure to pay for the running of government, and 50 will be for capital. And recurrent expenditure is first line charge. You have to pay salaries and pension every day before you do anything. Now you have a budget of 250. You've increased your recurrent expenditure in that proportionate sum. So what happens year in, year out, is that the bulk of the money in your budget, because it's assumed, it's phantom, goes to the first line charge of paying recurrent expenditures. So there's little or nothing left. Maybe my example is extreme, but that's the idea. That when we came into government in Edo, that is what it's all about. That at the end of the day, there's very little left in that budgeting process to do any real work for our people. So over time, our people have lost trust in government. So that's why on election day, people rather go to farm or do something else and not bother. And even if they're going to come out to vote, to say, yeah, what you give me something, give me my own share of what you're going to take when you get there. And that is what has dragged us to where we are in Nigeria today. So budgeting is at the core and the heart of government. And you can't prepare a budget without the citizens. So for me, I'm worried because if we do not begin to change the way we budget, the way we relate the budget to our citizens, there's going to be a major crisis. Because now you are not getting the kind of funding you require from Abuja. What are you going to do? You have to rely on internally generated taxes, right? So it is going to be increasingly difficult for us politicians to go to the citizens and say, pay your tax. And then we're not able to explain to them how we are spending those tax revenues. Or to go and tell them that all what you are paying as tax, we use it to pay only salaries. Are you seeing the challenge ahead? But you don't have a choice because the only way you can run government is through taxation. So there has to be transparency and openness in the way you spend the tax revenues. So for us in Edo, preparing a citizen's budget is non-negotiable. At least for me as a governor, it's non-negotiable. That's why I wanted more of our DFAs to be here. Because the current reforms we're undertaking in the civil service, I'm going to be very, very heavy on the DFAs from now on.
He can continue and say, government no be business where you go come make money, now where you go come serve. Now why for political level, he wants say wetin he fit do to change the politics and make the political players know say when they come serve, no be themselves, then they come serve.
At the political level, we are doing what we can to change our politics and to try and make political players realize and understand that when you come out to serve, you are not there to serve yourself. Government is not a business. So government is not where you come and make money. Government is where you come and serve. So we're currently having that tension. And I'm very glad that we are winning. Because if you look at the Edo State's budget last year, for the first time, our capital budget performed over 80%, which means that we're getting more money from the budget to work for our people.
The resource person for the training, Mr. David Agukonyan, say popular participation, accountability, transparency, simplification, accessibility and citizen feedback they lead to people's budget will go enhance service delivery, improve good governance and bring better development.
I can bet that except for the budget officers, nobody, even in Nigeria, nobody can sit down and go through all of them, not even to go to half of it. There are some MPs that will be mentioned that they have their budget in that document and you'll be saying, you'll be asking where. I'm talking of the whole MPA. You won't even know that that MPA is inside that budget document because you don't have the time to go through the 2,168 pages. And if it is like that at the federal level, what of your state? How many people that are not in Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning will want to sit down and look at your 400 and something page budget? Because it is filled with figures, thousands, millions, and even billions. When the woman frying akara will see it, she will just tear part of it and wrap akara and give to her customer. If you ask her, not the thing where they take the chop money, not the thing where they take the chop our money. She is not interested because the thing is too bulky for her. The thing is written in a manner that she will not understand. She will be carried along.
Edo State Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Princess Ose Momo Morugbe, come talk say the event go help chart a new direction for the state budgeting process. Ebo Sereme Obinome, TMC TV News.